Picture this. It's Friday night, and your phone is silent. No notifications, no group chat blowing up, no one asking where you're going tonight. And here's the thing that might surprise most people. You're not sad about it. You're not sitting in some dark corner feeling sorry for yourself. You're actually relieved. Maybe you're reading a book, working on a project you care about, or just enjoying the absolute bliss of not having to explain yourself to anyone. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you wonder why everyone treats this like a problem that needs solving. If this sounds like you, stay with me. Because today, we're diving deep into the psychology of people who have no friends and genuinely don't want any. And I promise you, this isn't a sad story. It's actually one of the most misunderstood ways of being human. Let's get something straight right from the beginning. Society has a script for how life is supposed to look. You're supposed to have a big friend group. You're supposed to want to go out on weekends. You're supposed to feel lonely if you spend too much time alone. And if you don't fit that script, people assume something is broken inside you. They use words like antisocial, loner, weird, or they ask with that concerned voice if you're okay, as if choosing solitude is a symptom of disease. But here's what psychology actually tells us. The need for social connection exists on a spectrum. Just like some people need 8 hours of sleep and others function perfectly on 6, some people need constant social interaction and others need almost none. Neither is wrong, neither is broken. They're just different operating systems running different software. Researchers have spent decades studying something called the need for affiliation, which is basically how much a person desires to be around others. And guess what they found? It varies enormously from person to person. Some people score incredibly high. They feel energized by crowds, drained by solitude, and genuinely uncomfortable when they're alone for too long. But others score remarkably low. They feel drained by social interaction, energized by solitude, and genuinely uncomfortable when they have to perform the exhausting ritual of maintaining friendships. And here's the crucial part. Low need for affiliation is not the same as depression. It's not the same as social anxiety. It's not a trauma response, though it can be. For many people, it's simply their natural temperament, the way they came into this world, the way their nervous system is wired. Think about it like this. Imagine your social battery is a real thing, a little energy bar inside your brain. For high affiliation people, that battery charges when they're around others and drains when they're alone. But for low affiliation people, it's the complete opposite. Every conversation, every social obligation, every "let's catch up soon" slowly depletes their energy. And solitude is how they recharge. It's not avoidance, it's maintenance. Now let's talk about something that might sting a little. The truth is, friendships are expensive. Not in money, though sometimes that too, but in time, energy, and emotional bandwidth. Real friendships require maintenance. They require showing up when you don't feel like it. They require remembering birthdays, asking about their problems, being available when they need you, and performing the delicate dance of reciprocity that keeps relationships alive. For some people, that investment feels natural and worthwhile. The return is clear. They get companionship, support, fun, connection. But for others, the cost-benefit analysis doesn't add up. They look at what friendship requires and what it provides, and they think, I could just not do that and be perfectly fine. This isn't selfishness. It's honesty about their own needs and limitations. And here's something most people won't admit. A lot of friendships aren't actually that good. They're based on proximity, habit, or obligation rather than genuine connection. How many people stay in touch with their high school friends out of real desire versus guilt? How many work friendships would survive if you changed jobs tomorrow? How many social interactions leave you feeling genuinely nourished versus vaguely exhausted? People who choose to have no friends have often done an honest audit of their social lives and decided that quality matters more than quantity. And sometimes the highest quality choice is zero. Let's go deeper into the psychology here because there's something fascinating happening in the brains of people who prefer solitude. Research on introversion and what scientists call the highly sensitive person trait reveals that some nervous systems are simply more reactive to stimulation. External input, including social input, hits harder. It's processed more deeply. It requires more recovery time. Imagine living your life with the volume turned up slightly too high on everything. Conversations aren't just exchanges of information. They're complex data streams of facial expressions, tone of voice, subtext, expectations, and emotional labor. For highly sensitive introverts, a single coffee date can feel like running a mental marathon. It's not that they don't like people. It's that people are a lot. Now add modern life into the mix. We live in an era of unprecedented social noise. Social media means you're never truly alone, never truly disconnected. There's always someone posting, messaging, expecting a response. The pressure to maintain an online social presence adds another layer of exhaustion on top of real-world relationships. Is it any wonder that some people look at all of this and say, "No thanks, I'm good"? But here's where it gets really interesting. People who choose solitude often have incredibly rich inner lives. Without the constant input of other people's opinions, they develop their own. Without the distraction of social obligations, they pursue their own interests deeply. They become experts in niche topics. They create things. They think thoughts that never get interrupted by someone else's agenda. History is full of brilliant minds who preferred their own company. Nikola Tesla famously avoided close relationships, believing they would interfere with his work. Emily Dickinson spent most of her adult life in near-total isolation, producing some of the most powerful poetry ever written. Isaac Newton was notoriously difficult to befriend and seemed perfectly content with his solitary pursuit of understanding the universe. These weren't broken people. They were people who understood something about themselves that others couldn't accept. And let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, sometimes the absence of friends is connected to painful experiences. Some people learned early in life that relationships hurt. They were betrayed, abandoned, bullied, or chronically disappointed by the people who were supposed to care for them. For these individuals, choosing isolation is a protective strategy, a wall built from justified wariness. But here's the nuance that matters. Even trauma-informed solitude can be healthy. If your experience taught you that most relationships cause more pain than joy, removing yourself from that pattern isn't dysfunction. It's wisdom. The goal of healing isn't necessarily to become someone who wants friends. It's to become someone who understands their own needs and makes choices that serve them. Now, I want to challenge something that might be sitting in your mind. There's a cultural assumption that humans need friends to be healthy and happy. We've all heard that loneliness kills, that social isolation is as dangerous as smoking, that connection is essential for well-being. And there's truth to that research. But here's what often gets lost in translation. Loneliness and solitude are not the same thing. Loneliness is the painful feeling that arises when your social needs aren't being met. But if your social needs are minimal, solitude doesn't create that pain. You can be alone without being lonely. You can have zero friends and feel completely whole. The research on isolation harming health is about unwanted isolation, people who crave connection but can't find it. It doesn't apply to people who genuinely prefer their own company. In fact, forcing social interaction on people who don't want it might be more harmful than leaving them alone. Imagine telling someone who loves silence that they need to listen to loud music for their health. That's essentially what we do when we pressure natural loners into friendships they don't want. So what does a fulfilling life look like for someone who doesn't want friends? It might look like deep focus on meaningful work. It might look like a rich relationship with books, art, nature, or ideas. It might look like one or two very limited connections, maybe a partner, maybe a family member, that provide enough human contact without overwhelming. It might look like a life that others don't understand, but that feels perfectly complete from the inside. And here's the permission slip that nobody gives these people, but that they deserve. You are allowed to live a life that doesn't make sense to others. You are allowed to decline the social contract that says relationships are mandatory. You are allowed to find fulfillment in ways that don't involve other people. Your worth is not measured by the number of contacts in your phone or the attendance at your birthday party. The truth is, choosing to have no friends requires a certain kind of courage. It means standing outside the norm and being comfortable with judgment. It means knowing yourself well enough to ignore what everyone else says you should want. It means building a life on your own terms, even when those terms are lonely to everyone except you. So if you're someone who has no friends and doesn't want any, I want you to hear this clearly. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not broken, defective, or missing out. You are simply living according to your own blueprint rather than society's assembly instructions. And that takes more self-awareness than most people will ever develop. The next time someone looks at your quiet life and asks with concern if you're okay, you can smile knowing what they don't. You know that your solitude is not emptiness but fullness. You know that your silence is not loneliness but peace. You know that the absence of friends in your life is not a void waiting to be filled, but a space you've intentionally cleared for yourself. And maybe, just maybe, you know something that the constantly connected, always socializing, never alone crowd hasn't figured out yet. That the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one with yourself. And you've been nurturing that relationship beautifully. Now I'm curious about you. Are you someone who genuinely prefers solitude? Have you ever felt pressured to want friends when you honestly don't? What does your ideal amount of social interaction look like? Tell me in the comments because I want to understand the full spectrum of how people experience this. And if this video describes something you've never been able to put into words, consider subscribing. We explore the psychology of being human here, especially the parts that don't fit neatly into what society expects. Until next time, enjoy your own company. It's pretty great company to keep.